I'm going to say this before we start. You guys owe me.
Huh?
Okay. The one time I don't choose movies that are like so gross and weird and cool and offensive and blah, blah, blah.
Give me a fucking thumbs up.
You guys are all.
Let him finish his thought.
Well, you
I
picked
tried
a
to-
weird
I
week,
tr-
dude.
You picked a
you
weird,
picked
weird week.
week.
You picked
Well,
a
it was just
weird
because
week.
presidents
Clearly
were
not
on the
your
brain. It's not my
Yeah.
fault. Listen, if it had gone the other
It
way,
is
we'd
your
probably
fault.
all be
In fact, I'm
having
doing
so
the
much
whole
fun
way
right
up
now.
on you.
No shit.
No
If
shit.
it's on their way, we'd be like, "Oh, hugs to you, Jared, for picking amazing movies. You made me live life
not-
again."
That's
It's
because
not my
nobody
fault,
ever
you guys.
feels
That's all
that.
I'm saying.
I know,
It's not my
I
Listen,
fault.
man,
I'll drive to your house and
Civil
scream.
War was right there.
Yeah.
Civil War was right there.
I mean,
Well-
the most praiseworthy you guys have gotten was about Come and See, and it was pretty depressing.
That's not
Oh,
true,
but that's
Jim.
a great film.
Jim,
it's
Jim,
good.
I got to tell you something. This week we went out to the show movies, and afterwards we got into a conversation with a guy out in the parking lot, and we started talking about movies. And you'd be very proud. Sheila recommended Come and See to this guy,
Good God.
and I go, you know that's the one where they burn down the barn that's full of Jews, right? She goes, yeah,
Right.
I know, it's a really good movie. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll tell Jim.
It's a true story.
Yeah.
Right.
I think there's one movie. If these were rough. There's one movie I would not recommend watching this week. Don't Look Up.
Don't look up.
Don't look
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Oh, the one about the, is that the, yeah.
It's the asteroid hitting the Earth.
Was that Netflix?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And no one
Adam
believes it.
McKay's
No one-
movie.
Don't watch that movie.
No one believes it. Everybody dies.
Yeah.
We're living
This
it,
is-
so it's fine.
No, Come and See is like now my favorite
Nothing like a
war
movie where
film of
people
all time.
stop in the middle of a sentence and start screaming and then stop, like because they're like freaked
That
out.
kid looks really horrified too.
Like,
Oh
I think
my
he was
God.
probably traumatized.
So
by
as I
being in
mentioned,
that movie.
as I mentioned in the chat, this is one of those like I kind of wish Tab was here because I do not remember so many guns being shot in this movie. Like, there's probably I
well,
don't
they
know.
go out of their way to say that the
There's
plane
quite a
is
few
bulletproof,
there's
right?
quite a few shootouts in this movie.
There's
Yeah.
like 1,500 rounds that
Yeah.
go off in this
At least in that one
pressurized
cabin
cabin.
at Harrison Ford
In a
is
pressurized cabin at altitude.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, and I know enough about ballistics to know that just one of those would put a hole in the fuselage.
Could ruin everybody's day.
Okay,
No, that's what they say
for-
at the very beginning.
why?
They
Because-
go, the whole cabin is bulletproof.
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, right.
the plane is bulletproof. This is Air Force One. It's lined with a bulletanium. And bulletanium reflects all bullets. We all know that. Right?
In fact,
Okay.
that's why Cameron had to go to another planet.
This movie's
What this
almost
movie lacked,
unreviewable.
though, is Brent Spiner.
No, it's
I mean, this is one of those like I don't even know how to review this movie because it's ludicrous, it's over the top. There's bullets being fired into pressurized cabin at altitude. At the
It
same
reminded me a
time,
lot of what's the movie with Bruce Willis?
Die Hard.
This movie.
yeah, it's just
Die
Die
Hard.
Die Hard.
Hard.
Die Hard on a
Basically Die
plane.
Hard on a plane.
an
When
airplane.
it came out, they said this is Die Hard on a plane. But I'll
It
tell
is
you what, guys,
also-
this movie is no Die Hard.
It is
hold on.
also stupidly entertaining.
John,
Yes,
let
it's
me-
not
it-
Die
it-
Hard.
It's
John,
no
let me-
Die Hard yet.
But
Hold on.
Gary Oldman is really
curious about
fucking
this
good.
because I actually have a lot invested in
It's
this.
his last good.
John, I'm going to give you the tagline
movie,
first.
probably.
Tell me why I'm wrong. The tagline is a desperate terrorists have taken over an airplane and only Harrison Ford can save them.
sure,
Yes.
Is it not that?
basically.
But you have above average performances
That's-
across the
That's the
board.
story. That's the story.
Um,
Why is it not that, John?
I'm not saying it isn't.
I thought you said it was.
No, you're putting words in his mouth.
I put it.
I don't understand the conversation I'm
Oh, I
having.
thought you were saying it's not Die Hard.
No, I'm saying it is, but it's
Oh,
no
Die
Die
Hard.
Hard in terms
It's
of
no,
No,
he's saying Die Hard is far superior.
Die Hard is
Yeah.
so much better than this
Oh,
movie.
now I wish
Funny.
Tab
Die
was here.
Hard's at
Maybe
11.
Tab here with his Die
This
Hard
movie's
scale.
like at 5.
Die Hard is the Empire State Building of this kind of movie.
Okay, good deal.
Right.
For sure,
This
for
is,
sure.
And
you
this
know,
is the
this is.
Chrysler.
Hey, it was that guy.
But yeah, this is the Chrysler. It's still a good fucking
Well, I mean,
version
this
of
is
this
like, I don't
story.
know,
The
though.
Chrysler building. It might be the Sears Tower.
It might be the
Okay,
No.
I'll take that.
No, the Chrysler building was the tallest building in the world.
No, I mean,
But Chrysler Building is more elegantly styled than this movie, so I refuse.
Right?
Yes, I refuse to call this the Chrysler Building.
I mean, the Nakatomi Tower, actually.
It's Fox Plaza.
It's got some really bad CG.
If Tad was here,
it's got some bad CG and some bad green screen.
Terrible CG.
Exhibit A.
Yeah, that was bad.
His Nakatomi scale right now.
No, the one behind Chris is the worst.
This is really terrible.
But I don't know.
For everything that's terrible, for everything that's really terrible in this movie, and there are lots of things that are utterly ridiculous or terrible. It's like Gary Oldman's fucking bringing it, man.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
sure.
he is really
Xander Berkeley there. Who's
Xander Berkeley. I mean, like, it's got Get Off My Plane.
But even
like
okay, but it's paced so well that and I think between the two scores, I really love this score, to be honest. I think they found a way to do this like presidential sounding but exciting sort of, reminiscent of like when people like John Williams would make a score for a picture that sounds.
Goldsmith is no John Williams.
No, but he's still no slouch.
He's no slouch. Yeah.
Goldsmith is no slouch.
Also, and there's a
he's
moment.
The Rob Reiner of composers.
Sorry, Glenn Close is the VP. Was this the first female VP in movie?
Correct.
Might have been.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, that's
competent.
And they just sort of sneak her in.
Well, they don't make a big. That's what I love, Jim. They don't make a big deal out of it. They're just like, it just fucking is. It just fucking is. And you got to do it.
What a great casting choice, by the way. It's like, oh yeah, Glenn Close, absolutely, she's the vice president.
And this is literally the fucking Obama watching Bin Laden get taken out scene.
That's right.
Yeah. There's a scene
that is one thing that's interesting in terms of like comparing it to Die Hard is that Bruce Willis's character is pretty much on his own. He has one call with a 911 operator and gets the fire trucks to come and they send him back. This, I mean, Harrison Ford's like checking in with the Oval Office constantly.
Right.
Although it is a cute, cute
but
scene where he calls the switchboard.
Yeah, that was good.
Not that he's helping him, but the whole time John McClane actually is talking to the officer.
Yes,
from,
Bill Johnson.
He's never completely alone because he's got that. Right.
He's got a buddy. But speaking of the acting, I think, I think Harrison is a good actor. I think he's a little understated and most, I don't think he has the biggest range in the world, but I think he's very good when he's good. Oldman is definitely just bringing his A game here. He's so good. But there's that scene at the end where Oldman, I think, is threatening his daughter, and he's counting down, and it's the way that Ford says, "I'll do it." There's something about that moment, that performance.
He cracked a little.
Yeah.
Well, it's so, but instead of, I think that's a brilliant actor at work there, because instead of, he could have done that so many different ways, and the guy's going 5, 4, and he's like, don't, and he says 3, 2, and he says, I'll do it. It's almost like, okay, like it's like this weird. Oh, it gets me every time. It gets me. I just want to be like that. You earned your paycheck right there with that one line.
Wolfgang Petersen does this very well. He knows how to like totally do this kind of on edge drama in a lot of his films. He's really good at it.
And Ford is one of the best physical actors from Indiana Jones to the Patriot Games type movies to this.
He did this right after like Clear and Present Danger.
Clear and Present Danger. One of he's my favorite. Jack Ryan. He's so good at that. Like, I'm a real person. Like, I'm clumsy, but I can fight. Like, I'm not perfect. I can't. He's not a boxer. He's not a martial artist.
Right.
He's so far from.
And that's what makes it good. The way Die Hard is good is that it's not a Superman. It's a guy. In this case, it's the president. In the other one, it's a cop. But it's like he's a good fighter, but he's not the best fighter.
No, and he's.
Did you ever see Presumed Innocent with him in it?
Sure.
Yeah, of course.
Now, he doesn't. There's no fights in there. He doesn't pull punches. Man, that was one of his best films ever because he just.
That's Sidney Pollack, right?
Sidney Pollack, yeah. He just
and they made a TV show out of that recently.
Let's just talk about Wolfgang Petersen for a second, right? So, I mean, we all love Das. I think we all love Das Boot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what a film!
But then it's he kind of got sucked up by Hollywood and just started getting put in.
But I'm one of those few people that I really like Troy too. I just think it's a fun time.
I like it's Craptacular. I mean,
it's crappy, but it's kind of crappy, but it's so good.
Yeah. You throw it in the player, and you got 3 hours of solid entertainment.
Right. I mean, I'm looking over. There's mine. Enemy Mine on the theater. That's kind of terrible.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Perfect Storm, better than it. Here's the thing. Not as good as the book, but also because they decided to make a strictly like totally Hollywood action flick out of it, gets by on the good graces of solid direction and a good cast. Like he didn't embarrass himself with it, even though I thought the book was like 1,000 times better.
You talking about Perfect Storm?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I saw it in the theater, and the boat's leaving the harbor, and my sister's next to me, and she nudges me and says, "Awful lot of stars on that boat." It's like, oh, yep, you're right.
But yeah, I mean, but Wolfgang, like once Hollywood got a hold of him, like it was just a lot of very workmanlike thrillers. Like,
but him taking them to slightly above average status. Like, had they just gotten a studio guy, right? Yeah. They had no business being as good as they.
I think In the Line of Fire is his, which is also pretty good.
Yeah, that's actually quite a good film.
Yeah. In the Line of Fire is terrific.
Yeah. Malkovich, good villain.
Malkovich got the.
So
did he lose to? He was nominated. He lost, I think, to Tommy Lee Jones in that.
Yeah, I mean, one of his most memorable performances.
Nothing's as good as Das Boot, but not very few things are as good as Das Boot. But again, I'm looking at this movie going, this is pretty craptacular. It's got a lot of issues, but it's just a little better than it needs to be.
Yeah,
like he gets a lot of mileage out of this claustrophobic location, which of course they cheat, just like Hunt for Red October, where this is like the world's most enormous submarine now becomes the world's most enormous plane.
It's very roomy. Yes,
I mean it's a 747, but it is way.
It's extremely roomy.
Those are big planes, but yeah,
there's a basement, an attic, and a rec room. And it's just like
I know it just goes on. It's so big that you could shoot a machine gun repeatedly, and the people upstairs will never hear it.
Yeah,
I don't know. I think everyone's hearing everything.
But
they hear it.
No, they're not because Jared, there's a whole scene where Gary Oldman is like in the conference room, like threatening to kill somebody every 30 minutes. Meanwhile, downstairs, Harrison Ford's killing people, and he doesn't know.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. Maybe you have to be on the same. You have to be on the same floor.
You would hear everything.
Well, there seems to be 3 floors on this.
There are 3 floors.
There are 3 floors. But there's also there's that scene in the beginning when the gunshots start going off and everybody does hear it. They're like, what the fuck? And like,
right. Yeah.
But I guess because they're on the same, whatever.
No, and
I'm sure it's all bullshit, but
that whole thing is one of my favorite things about the movie is just watching Gary Oldman's the bad guy. They don't tell you in advance. But it's like, he's a bad guy.
Oh, fucking there's no surprises there. Yeah.
Watching the wind up of they're going to get him onto the plane and then.
But I like how
they take over the plane.
Even though it ends with a weird kind of silly red, white, and blue joke, I love the scene where he has to call a specialist to learn how to dump the fuel from the plane.
That was good.
I think a lesser film would have just had the hero open the hatch and like it would have had a big sign that said like fuel dump and he push the fucking button. Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just it's a testament to the script, to the filmmakers, to everybody saying, you know what? No, this is actually probably a real thing. So you have to like have a fucking guy that works on these planes that would walk you through it. Yeah, and even that guy, by the way, is still looking at the fucking manual, dude. He's like reading it to him.
Yeah, it's like not something you do every day is dump your fuel, right?
Yeah, it was just very cool, like little detail.
Also, the whole thing's the layer of kind of like technical expertise about everything, about how communications work, how stuff like that works, that emergency exit stuff. It's all there, man. So it's nice.
And that woman is right. Faxes are can be on different lines. Like at my work, we had a fax forever.
This is fax machine lady right here.
Yeah. She's
so grinning as she's parachuting out of a jet.
That's a little weird.
This MacGuffin bad guy. I forgot the name of the character.
He's a good character actor, by the way.
Yeah. But
that was almost like a weird, nothing.
His demise made me laugh. It's like, oh shit, I'm stuck on the plane.
Yeah.
What was his end game? So he gets them in.
He left the end. He beats him up.
He gets them in. I guess they fail. So he's like, okay, I'm gonna hedge my bets.
He kills me.
I'm gonna act like I'm back with the secret.
Well, he's gonna remain a mole.
Yeah.
I don't know why he revealed himself at that point. It was just like, get the hell off the plane.
I trusted you.
Like
the next president will trust me too.
The next president. They just wanted to say that line.
Did anybody else feel like
line before he kicks Harrison Ford off the plane?
That was great, though.
Well, but did anybody else feel like Gary Oldman's death was a little anticlimactic?
Well, this was the betrayal guy. This was the big.
That's what I mean. Like that should have been Oldman, because Oldman just gonna get strangled very sort of for the level of bad guy he is. His death was kind of like.
No, I like.
Okay,
I liked the neck snap before he goes. That was kind of cool.
But you're kind of identifying what to me is a problem with this movie is that it's like 3 endings. It's like kill Gary Oldman, then crash the plane with the other bad guy in it, and then that whole bit in between where it was like Harrison Ford has to fly the plane, and we're like, oh my God, the crisis is over, but here's another crisis that's going to make the movie 25 minutes longer.
It's true. There's kind of a weird end of a third act on here, and it feels. The thing is, again, in lesser hands, that would feel worse to me. They still kind of had me though, because I think by the time Air Force One is down, and Harrison is just flailing out there on that cable.
Where's the president?
Dude, that's such a great fucking cut though, with the music swelling, and you're just like, when that happens, John, I was just like, fuck yeah, dude, he's like fucking still alive, he's there.
Right, Jerry, I'll bet this shit killed in the movie theater in the 90s.
Dude.
And just watching it now with like special effects like this that's behind me right here, it's like
too bad for its time.
I don't know.
Not too bad for its time.
Here's the thing, Scott. It's like, okay, Star Wars, it's spaceships, it's fantasy, it's whatever. It looks cool, right? But here it's like there's plenty of footage of people flying to Earth in parachutes. There's plenty of footage of actual jet planes flying, and yet they do this.
But this
ILM thing in every shot.
Nice, winsome smiles on them. Look at that. You relate to the person in the fake parachute.
You could actually hear this guy that's in the door of the plane like screaming as the plane crashed into the ocean.
I think that the last part where you kill off all the Russians and Harrison, the president's to land the plane, and then you have William H. Macy next to him. And he looked over and says, "What are you doing?" I don't know. I have no idea how to fly a plane. You have the co-pilot can't fly, even though he's wearing an Air Force uniform the entire movie. I think it's kind of funny. So there is some kind of like having to do it himself kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, again, like Die Hard.
Like Die Hard, yeah.
Wait a minute, isn't William Macy's character in the Army?
He's in the Air Force.
Yeah, he's like an officer.
But he's not a pilot.
He's not a pilot though.
Major.
Yeah. He's a major. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But it looked like he was, maybe he's in the Air Force.
Uh-huh.
I know, just it was so divorced from reality, and not in the way that like nowadays you get like Fast and Furious where the car goes to the moon or whatever. It's like, okay, that's ridiculous. But we're supposed to be taking this seriously.
But here's the thing, John. During that moment,
Aliens has the same sort of
the score is telling you
projection.
What like that shot, what that woman represents is everyone is safe. The hostages are safe.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to feel, and you do, because this movie's manipulative in the way that all movies are.
Negro.
Where
okay.
Wait, what?
I didn't catch
just bringing up the concept of the magical Negro, which is a trope in movies.
Well, I said every movie needs one.
Right. So, that's a whole different thing.
Something about.
I guess she kind of is though, because she's the one that gets the facts out.
Yeah.
Something about mid to late 90s.
And she can fly.
Yeah.
Mid to late 90s CG. None of it has aged well.
I know.
Because that was a period of time when post Jurassic Park. Movie studios we can do whatever we want.
Look at the airplanes.
And really, they couldn't.
No, they couldn't.
Yeah,
but you're still supposed to be like, that represents like, hey, everyone made it who needed to make it.
Two things: the airplane behind Chris was half the film was CG and half the film was miniatures. That was they're trashing a gigantic miniature there. It's like about 25 feet long.
Yeah, except they does a full fucking roll.
I know.
Yeah.
So like. when you're seeing this at the Coronet in a 78.
Oh yeah,
yes,
it feels pretty good.
And you know what? What Jim said about Aliens is also true. When I saw it in the theater, and that rocket, the lander or whatever crashes and it's flipping over and people are running away from the wreckage, fucking killed. It was amazing. If you watch it now, like the contrast levels are all wrong. It just looks like hell.
That makes all the difference, man.
It's true.
Yeah.
I know. I had an easier time sitting through this one for sure than the other.
Absolutely.
Jim's just like,
although you know what's weird is speaking of CG of that era, I've always thought because it's bugs, and so who has the fucking Starship Troopers looks so good.
That movie still looks so good.
And it still looks so good. Obviously, they had a big budget, but I think it's because also they're like we're going to show you something that you don't know, so we give it a lot of probably either like.
I watched that movie a year ago, and I'm like, fucking hell! Like I know like some of that stuff's still miniatures, but it's phenomenally still good.
Mine worked on the bug effects doing comping for about 3.5 years until blood ran out of his eyes. I swear to God, they put a ton of time into this thing.
Yeah, but
you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes when you do things that we don't see every day, we give it a little more leeway.
Like, but we all know what a plane looks like.
He's talking about. This guy spent 3 weeks.
Let's face it, we know what crashing planes look like.
That's just it, Jim. There's a lot of footage of this stuff that they could.
But we don't know what giant bugs coming at you trying to eat you looks like.
Yeah.
I mean, thank goodness.
All right, okay. Show of hands then. Show of hands.
I love this movie.
I've been slagging on it for half an hour, but fuck yeah.
I think it's like
a fun movie.